Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome to the TNT podcast episode 10?
11?
11?
We're losing track.
It's 11. It's 11.
All right, cool.
It's either 11 or it's episode 12.
Oh, God, this counting.
Also known as
starting at zero nonsense.
So,
writing your show on the wall.
this is a special week because we're not continuing our trend of greatest of the generation because Tyler is out for the week, and we're also recording a day late. Tyler's at a birthday party for his sister.
Oh, that's why he's not here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we brought Luigi back.
Yeah, I'm here.
And
Our favorite guest host.
now we can, and only so far. I opened the floor to Val and Leslie, and both of them said no. So
They both gave us this look like, I don't want to be involved in this.
what would we even talk about? I don't know. Anyway, we got a pretty light schedule this week. But we can talk about Magic the Gathering for more than 30 seconds because Tyler's not here to
Tyler's
fall
not here to
asleep.
stop us.
Plus, Luigi can fill in for Tyler as far as Overdank news, so that's
I
good.
like the overdanks. I like
yeah.
the Magic Gatherings.
But first off, we have this was a crazy weekend. This is kind of, instead of mini news for the week, this is kind of all the mini news. Is San Diego Comic-Con happened this weekend?
Announcement City, man.
So many announcements that I can't find a good website to tell me what all the announcements were to sum up. So
Yeah, it was annoying. We weren't in an easy internet access area over the weekend, so we couldn't keep up with all the announcements as they were coming out.
yeah, so
We were having fun.
yeah, so us, the three of us, Tyler, Val, and Leslie, my girlfriend and our friend Leslie, we were all camping this weekend for 4 days, and it was super fun. I got to unveil my custom commander set, which was really cool. And
And we all loved it.
what?
We all loved it.
Oh, well, that's
Hell
good.
yeah.
Loved it, Nick.
Drafted Conspiracy. Freeman helped design the cards. That was I don't want to shortchange.
Yeah,
Freeman.
don't take all the credit for that one.
Yeah. But and then I also gave everybody custom D&D notebooks and a fountain pen, so that was a lot of fun. So now we're all ready to adventure into the future.
I think
Hell yeah.
3 fountain pens survived.
No,
No?
well, Leslie has her new one, and Tyler set his up, and me and Val had ours set up. So at
Yeah,
least
mine works too.
Freeman's works
Mine
too.
was perfect. Everybody else had ink spilled on them. I was like, yeah,
Well,
no, I'm fine.
yeah, I keep pouring ink on myself, but that's
Oh my
besides the point.
god. Anyway,
The
San Diego Comic-Con.
happened
so
while
we
we
didn't
were
get
at
to
this
follow
camping trip.
much of it live, although we did have internet all weekend. So we all kind of saw a few scattered announcements on our phones, and we're like, "Oh my god, look at this!" But none of us really were like constantly following. But some news. I'm just looking through IGN's list. I don't really know if this is everything. New Thor Ragnarok trailer. Didn't watch it, but that's awesome because I want to see that.
A lot of people are really saying it's giving off a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, which,
I'm
sounds
fine
pretty
with.
good to me.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Thor movies have been middle to bottom tier of Marvel so far. I thought the first one was pretty cool, but the second one really was not anything crazy.
Yeah, I'm not a Marvel fan, so I can't really comment.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
same here.
but
I
I'm
think
really
most of them
excited
are
because, I mean, I saw the first... I didn't see this new trailer, but I saw the other trailer where Thor and Hulk were in the arena together, and I just saw Thor go, yeah!
Oh,
And then
yeah.
we know each other from work, and that was all I needed to know that this is going to be a great movie. So I'm really excited to go see this. I'm pretty positive this is the next Marvel movie, because
Yeah.
Spider-Man was just came out. Also, neither of you saw Spider-Man, right?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah, because Leslie and Tyler
We should
didn't.
go watch
You-
together.
You two are the ones who didn't see it yet, because jerks.
It's 'cause
Um,
we're dumb and stupid.
What else?
Stranger Things 2 trailer came out.
Yes,
Oh,
I did
yes.
watch
Oh,
that.
man.
That looks
That's
really
amazing.
freaking good.
That's looking really good. It's making me really excited for Spoopy Halloween to start up.
Yeah, Val says Halloween's always her favorite holiday, and I have reason to agree with her now because Stranger Things 2 looks really solid.
They know what they're doing. They're releasing it the weekend right before Halloween.
Yeah, so you can and it's going to be a testament to how many cosplayers are already ready to go. Although I don't know how you cosplay. Do you just feel like I'm child
Wear,
from?
like,
You
clothing
cosplay the
from
kids
80s.
cosplaying as the
Oh my
Ghostbusters.
god, Jeez. That was really funny actually in the trailer. How like the trap is vibrating and everything. It's like, geez, guys, come on.
Or just like walk around with a Pathfinder book and you'll be fine.
Oh my god. There was a
DD's
Justice
pretty
League
relevant.
trailer. Who cares?
Nickelodeon had some announcements. I didn't
Did
get
they
to watch
really?
these
Go
trailers
ahead.
till after, but they unveiled the trailer for the Hey Arnold movie that they've been showing off. This one takes place after the original series. They had originally planned to do a movie, and they never got it. And now it looks like they're doing it. I saw the trailer. They got back a good number of the original vocal cast, but a lot of people are different, and a lot of the animation it's weird. And I didn't personally enjoy the trailer. I felt it pandered way too hard to like people who remember certain episodes. Like there was a good 25% of the trailer was about Stoop Kid. Stoop Kid was in a single episode. He's not what Hey Arnold's about.
But he is what the meme is.
But he's the meme.
He's the Hey Arnold meme that has survived all the years. Stoop Kid's afraid to leave his stoop. See, everyone still knows it.
Yeah, they had like a scene from Pigeon Man. It was there. I don't know. I didn't personally like it, but then I saw the Rocko's Modern Life trailer.
Oh my god!
And that captured the magic of what made Rocko's Modern Life so good. It was just so absurd, and it was just funny. The animation looked almost identical to the way it was. The voice cast was all back. I am beyond excited for Rocko's Modern Life.
I will see neither of those movies in theaters, or potentially ever.
They're both TV movies, and I think the Rocko's Modern Life is just supposed to be like a special episode. So I don't know if it's going to be only like a 30-minute episode or a full hour.
My statement still stands.
Oh, I'm probably not watching Arnold, but I'm definitely watching Rocko's Modern Life.
Anything else? There's Walking Dead stuff. Who cares?
As someone who watches Walking Dead, I can say I literally don't care.
I stopped caring. It's just.
Let me guess. There's gonna be zombies next season.
What?
Oh, sorry, I spoiled it for you.
Fuck. Why would you do that?
Anything else big come out of it?
King Kong versus Godzilla news. I don't know.
Jeez.
There's nothing. There's no announcements that we've really missed. Everything else was just there was just so many trailers.
Yeah, basically.
Telltale's like, we're gonna do more Batman and hopefully drive that one into the ground. Apparently, Walking Dead is just like, I'm watching a I've mentioned them before. Two best friends play. I'm watching their Let's Play of Walking Dead season 3. Man, that thing is really like. I know some of Telltale's series are still good, but Walking Dead is so your choices don't matter.
Yeah, that's kind of a big problem with it. Like, they've mattered. It felt like they mattered more at the beginning, and gradually they've just been like, fuck it, we can't keep thinking about your decisions. Exactly.
I think the problem is they're in the whole, like, BioWare kind of was, where we're 3 games into this series, your choices can't have mattered that much.
Yeah, because we got to make new stuff that matters, or this game won't be fun.
The actually crazy thing, though, to me, is that I've never played through Mass Effect series. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but do you know the character Rex from the first game? Krogan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a good chance he dies in the first game unless you persuade him not to do something. He just goes off the handle and dies during the second-to-last mission. And he shows up like as a kind of important secondary character in the second and third game. I've never played it, but is that just a different Krogan who does those things, or you just not get to do that content?
I want to say it's a different one, because the Krogan you play with in 2 kind of behaves like he's new to the group.
That's different. That's Grunt. That's your party.
That's what I'm thinking of. All right,
but
sorry.
Rex is there in 2 and 3. I don't know. I've never played it. It's off topic anyway.
Ignore it. Get rid of it.
There's a whole bunch of... There was tons of panels and not that many announcements, though, that were like, ooh, big announcement. It was mostly just trailers.
Yeah,
so
no.
We're just going to say that's it. I mean, I'm sure we missed something. Just leave a comment, and we'll be like, oh, yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Actually, there was one more announcement I forgot to mention. This actually belongs to the Weeb shit, but Stan Lee is a big anime fan. He wrote the script for the show called Hero Man a couple years ago that he got Studio Bones to animate. It was basically like the most comic book anime you could find. And he partnered with a different studio, I think it was Studio Dean, for like a one-off episode of something. And they revealed it at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's getting so much criticism because there's literally no animation. It's just a lot of still shots.
Ugh.
But that was his new big claim to fame in terms of animation.
Hero Man.
That's gross. Well, no, Hero Man's the old good thing.
Hero Man, I personally enjoyed it. That show desperately needed a second season that it never got, but that's besides the point.
It's ranked
Hero
really
Man.
low, or really high, depending on how you see it.
Oh, but now we can talk about Magic.
Yeah, which also had SDCC announcements.
Well, was it announcements or was it just
all of the Unset announcements happened at San
Well,
Diego
okay.
Comic-Con.
So there was a panel there, and Morrow spoke at the panel for a while. I think Morrow even had his own panel actually, and he talked about the Unset.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna go make me go back to the subreddit to try to dig this thing up.
Or is what I remember. It's there's like 5 different factions in the set, and one of the core mechanics is assembling contraptions, which anyone who's been in the Magic the Gathering meme community knows that in Future Sight, when they were printing all these cards that had mechanics that may or may not have ever gotten printed, they printed a joke card called shit. What is his actual name?
Some like oh god, what is
Goblin Rigger.
Steam
really?
Flogger Boss.
Steam Flogger Boss, and he was a joke because he was a rigger who gave a buff to other riggers, and there was no other creature type in the game like that. And it said whenever a rigger assembles a contraption. Now, riggers and contraptions were not things in the game, and assembling was not things in the game. So it's when a thing that doesn't exist does this thing to make another thing that doesn't exist do this thing. And it was this giant joke card. And everyone kept joking around when's it going to show up. And now it's an official mechanic in this third Unset, which is not... It's a real Magic set, but it's not a real Magic set.
So,
it's a lot of joke cards.
The Unsets, the 2 older ones were
unhinged and unglued.
That's what it was. And this is Unstable is the third one that's coming out. And the 2 old ones were the only set ever released that were silver bordered cards instead of black bordered. And the idea is that silver bordered cards break the rules that black bordered cards can't. So there were like there's old silver bordered cards like
even like the gotcha mechanic. If you see your opponent shuffling their hand, you'd be like, "Ooh, gotcha," and then you get to do something like this.
Or there's like a card where you could, if you just put it on the battlefield and no one notices for a minute, then you get to keep it on the battlefield.
It's
or
like a 2-mana blue creature.
Cheaty face.
Yes.
Or there's
one that had it was unblockable if your opponent was wearing jeans.
There's the card that's like it's an elemental. It's like it's like a 25-word name.
Market research said that the longest card name in the world would produce better results, so we made a creature with the longest card name.
Yeah, and the name
large it wraps around the border.
And there's a card in the set called Word Mail where you get +1/+1 for every word in your name, so you just equip with that. It's like, oh, now it's a 27/27. Or Chaos Orb, which was rip it into pieces and then step away from the table and throw them at the table and destroy everything they touch. Like,
point is, they do a lot of fun stuff you could do in like kind of a board game kind of thing, not really competitive card game. And
yeah, it's not competitive at all. But Morrow posted on his blogatog a bunch of info from his panel, and I'm just looking over it. There's squirrels, because squirrels are a theme that is probably never coming back to real Magic because creative doesn't like them, apparently, according to Morrow. So he's...
Scroll decks are important.
But there is not... The key thing is there's a Squirrel Lord, but it is not legendary, so you can't build a Squirrel Commander deck. Full art lands.
Oh, no.
Which is really cool.
John Avon did the art.
The quote is, "We did something amazing with them that we almost didn't unhinged, but chickened out. They look amazing." So I don't know if that means they put chickens in the art.
I think it's truly, truly borderless.
Some people said that, but here's the problem. So after that, Morrow talks about having contraptions because he's said for years on his blog. Apparently, so the cool thing is the Unset was in design before he ever created his blog, and one of the key points of his blog has been, guys, tell Wizards you want an Unset because I want to do that, and someday I will solve contraptions. Meanwhile, he's been working on Unstable since before 2011 when he started this blog, so it's kind of crazy that he's been pulling this over on, keeping this over on people for so long. But he says he found out how to make contraptions work, but because Steam Flogger Boss is a real card, it had to be printed on the sheet with lands because the lands are black bordered.
Oh, they have black borders. Yeah,
so
you're right. He did say that.
The lands must have some kind of black border because Steam Flogger Boss is a mythic rare and it has to have its black border because it's a real Magic card.
I mean, it might just be just art and border, nothing else. No tap symbol, no mana symbol.
We'll have to see. Either way, it's cool to think that they're doing something crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, only the basic lands in Steam Flogger Boss can be played outside of just drafting Unstable. the theme sounds amazing. It almost apparently it's broken into 5 2-color factions.
They all sound like villains.
The Order of the Widget is cyborgs. Agents of Sneak are spies. Legion of Dastardly Doom is supervillains. Goblin Explosioneers is the Steam Floggers who make contraptions and they explode all the time. And then Crossbreed Labs, where they use their inventions to alter stuff. But everything is about inventing. The set symbol is a frickin' wrench with an acorn in it. Like, it's so amazing.
Acorn for squirrels.
It's going to be really interesting to see what they print.
There will be foil tokens, which is really cool. Clearly, they want something... Now, this is smart because it's something besides... Because for the longest time, until the original Zendikar set, there was no full art basic land outside of Unhinged, and everyone's like, we just need more Unhinged so we can get these basic lands out of these packs. But now, there's other full art basics, and there will be again, which is still super cool, but I think they wanted something else to keep around after drafting.
Definitely, and adds an incentive to actually want to open the packs, because when you play limited with it, once you're done, those cards don't do anything unless you're going to build like
it's like
a cube out of the.
It's
cards.
like how we drafted Conspiracy again. Not like 90% of those cards are just dead cards, unfortunately.
Dude, I'm still trying to build my collection of Kami of the Crescent Moon collection.
Oh my god!
Because I keep pulling them every time we draft it.
Anyway, But the cool thing, the set design started in January of 2011 and had its release date slipped several times. The fact that Morrow has made comments on his blog over the years related to people asking about things from the unsets and him being like, I didn't like this. Like, the gotcha mechanic, he didn't want people to be so focused on watching what they say that they don't talk. So,
yeah, they got an idea of what was actually fun and what wasn't for this clearly zany format.
Yeah, like, it's cool to be like, oh, Tim, you said the word of your card, so I get to say gotcha and get it back from your graveyard. But that just means I'm just going to sit there and not talk.
And then that's not fun interaction.
And that's no fun. This is supposed to be about like, guys, this is so crazy. We're all having fun. So,
I mean, part of why it took him so long to do this is that Magic has introduced so many of these different supplemental sets over the years. Since 2011, they've done Plane Chase. They started doing Commander as a regular product. Conspiracy happened. The Masters sets weren't a thing yet.
Yeah.
So they've been trying to squeeze it into the schedule. And I think they finally found an off year where they don't have too much going on. So, yeah.
On the Magic spoiler, it says the release date's going to be December 8, 2017. Is that the actual spoilers that are getting released, or
for Unstable?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's... I mean, it probably is just the release date. I mean...
I'm not sure if we're actually getting a spoiler season for this, just because of the type of set it is.
I have to imagine there's something. I mean, if you go to the coming soon, the amount of coming soon things is just crazy.
There's so much shit.
December 2017 is the best date we have. We have to start getting Commander spoilers next week, man.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm excited.
I mean, we already know 2 of the decks. Well, actually, we kind of know all 3 of them, at least 3 of them now.
So it's going to be dragons, it's cats,
cats,
slivers,
vampires,
right?
and something that's probably wizards or cultists or rogues or something like that.
Wizards
slivers, right? Yeah.
If anything, in the subreddit, it says the release date for the Commander set's going to be August 25th, 2017.
Yeah, so we got to get spoilers soon.
Yeah, right? We're less than a month
August
out.
is Tuesday, dude.
I want to say we only get 1 week of spoilers, though.
Yeah, Commander is usually on 1 week of spoilers. So, unfortunately, it's probably another week or 2, but I don't know. Who cares? I'm just excited for that and Ixalan gift. I don't know what this gift pack thing is that just showed up on here.
No idea.
It's a pack of gifts.
5. What is this? This is weird. What is this? 5 premium basic lands, 2 premium creature. Ugh. This is terrible.
Are they bringing back the foil packs like they did with Alara?
What is this thing? Exclusive.
Oh, maybe you linked it. It's
okay. I'll send this in the Discord. What is this thing?
Let's look at this thing.
This is the weirdest spread of packs and different cards and stuff. Contents: 5 premium basic lands by artist Mark Poole, known as the Shooting Star lands. 2 premium creature cards: Metalwork Colossus and Kari Zev Skyship Raider. 3 booster packs: Ixalan Hour of Devastation Amonkhet. Spin down life counter and exclusive mini poster featuring art from Hour of Devastation.
It's for collectors. It's
Yeah, who is this
But
for?
but what is like? It's 2 Kaladesh cards, then a pack from each of the last 3 sets, a spin down, and a poster, and 5 foil lands.
Oh, I think I know what this is. They're replacing the holiday gift box that normally comes out. You know the
But what? It's such a weird spread of stuff.
Yeah, but I guess they think it appeals more to people who are going to like buy this for the holidays for someone as opposed to the old style box. Which
All right, let's get off Magic. We've been talking about Magic for too long.
Anyway, yeah, Tyler would scream at us if he was here today.
Well, luckily he's not, so we could talk about all this.
So
but
moving along, we got some Overdank news.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go to
Today's
sleep.
a good day to talk because today was release day for Doomfist. He came fresh off the PTR. I don't think there were too many changes for him. They pretty much had him finalized when he went into PTR.
Yeah,
the
there
other buff.
weren't too many.
I'm gonna interrupt. Does that? So I know not a ton of guys have released since Overwatch came out, but as far as I can tell, when a champion, so on League there's the PBE, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
And usually a champion has no change. Like they have changes when they're on the PBE, but from final PBE to release, there's nothing. Like that. What you see on the PBE before release, I think, as far as I know, is usually just what you get. Is that the case with Overwatch, or is this weird that he didn't get changed?
It's becoming less. Actually, Luigi, you go.
It's more like when you're always going to get somebody who wants to play the new character, so Blizzard can collect that data from anybody who's playing on the PTR, and then with that they can kind of just perfect the character.
But I'm saying when
towards
they,
the end of the PT.
I'm saying
Yeah.
when. So that's what I mean. Are they doing it while they're on the PTR, or like you're off PTR, you're officially released at the same time we change a bunch of your numbers?
So
Generally,
going back
they do it
to
on the PTR. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
if you
that's
go
the
back
answer I was
to
looking for.
the first hero they released a little under a year ago, Anna, when she came out, they tweaked her numbers a bit while she was in the PTR. They changed her ammo, they changed her damage, and then they had one last tweak they did right before it went into live. So she was the one that got the most changes. The second hero, Sombra, she had almost no tweaks from the second she got put into the PTR to when she came out. I think she was just the same weight for 2 weeks. The last hero that we had before Doomfist, Orisa, she had her. It had to do with like when she started out, she had 200 ammo and had like a really long reload time. And they eventually they took down her ammo count but increased her reload time, so she's not quite as obnoxious, but it is still like one of those characters where if you're reloading, you're sitting there for a little while.
Yeah.
That was the only major tweak they made for her. Everything else is pretty consistent.
Okay.
Doomfist saw like almost no changes.
He released pretty well, like onto the.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the only change they made was someone found out a glitch where like if you jumped right before doing one of his abilities, you could clear, like you jumped way higher.
Hell
using the ability.
yeah!
And they're like this is dumb. Like they get rid of stuff where you need to.
It was the jump, then the charge in, then the uppercut to charge in again.
It gave you extra distance that you shouldn't have had.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's been stuff like rocket jumps in the game so far where you can sort of do that, and they've kind of toned it back a little bit because they don't like characters being broken by stuff that you shouldn't normally be able to do. But that's just their design
save
philosophy.
that for the arcade.
So yeah, moving out of PTR with almost no changes was pretty good. It means that they kind of knew what role he'd play before they even let us get a hold of him. But on top of Doomfist, Zarya's ult got a buff. Now Zarya's ultimate was basically she forms a black hole and sucks everyone in. But so many characters have movement abilities that they were able to get out of it, and it was kind of barely a nuisance. And she already takes fucking forever to charge up her ultimate. So they made it so once a character gets pulled in, you can't use any like escape skills to get out of it.
There
so that was
you
pretty
go.
Good update. But the big news that's coming out.
Hold on, wait. Before you say this, I actually just thought of something. Is that new tech? Like, is that movement ability impairment a new thing that they've kind of introduced?
Yeah, they just added it.
Okay, because I remember when League did that. There's Freeman, I know you said you played a little bit of League.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Snake Lady Cassiopeia? She's like the Snake Mage lady, poison.
Oh, a little bit.
So they did a rework on her a little while ago now, but she got an ability where she throws down an area of poison, and you can't use flash or any kind of dash or anything like that in that area. So that sounds like tech that a lot of games are adding.
I only play Cat and Timo.
Oh God.
One of those players.
Anyway, yeah, keep going. Big
But
news.
the biggest news to come out is that, first of all, for anyone who doesn't play competitive Overwatch, we're kind of in what everyone's calling the dive meta, where it's these small teams that stick together and they just rush on a point and try and get the objective just in one go. And it's really fucking annoying. I hate this meta right now. And Blizzard is trying to figure a way to counter it without making any one character too strong. So they're taking a character, Junkrat, who's got one of the lowest performance numbers at the high-end scale. And for anyone who doesn't play Overwatch, Junkrat is the grenade spam character. I think he has 6 grenades he can toss in any direction. And then he's got his shift abilities. He throws down this explosive mine. And the thing about the mine is that if you're standing near it, it blows you back. So if you're playing as Junkrat, you can launch yourself across the stage with it. It's pretty cool. And there used to be a method you do where you lay down a mine and then you wait the 8 seconds for your next one to come up. You explode the first one, and while you're in the air, you throw the second one and explode it again to give yourself some more airtime. And this was the only way Junkrat could really maneuver around the map. And it was really dumb because he had to wait 8 seconds to do it.
That's an eternity, dude.
So they started toying around with the idea of letting you hold 2 charges of a mine, or when you throw one out, reducing the cooldown to 4 seconds so you could more rapidly expect to have your second one up. And because of this, he's able to do a lot of burst damage. So they think this might be a direct counter to this dive, like death ball meta that's happening right now.
So when you say dive, you mean like it's basically just a team that gets up in your face and just kills you too fast?
Yeah, so usually in a round you'll have some characters that hang back that try to snipe. You'll have some tanks in place. What these comps try to do is they play like speed boost characters with high mobility and try and get on the objective before the other team has gotten there, and they stick as close as possible so that way none of them get picked off. And you have a lot of tankier characters like Winston, the gorilla, who's got his electric attack that hits multiple directions and can essentially high quality character. He sort of counters the own meta that's dominating this. It's a weird scenario. I personally don't like the dive meta because if you're not prepared for it, you lose a round in 30 seconds. And it's real fucking annoying.
That's lame.
I do like it because I love playing aggressively and
oh my god,
very quickly. So,
but in addition, Luigi, they are also looking at seeing if they can fix up Roadhog. They realize they may have over nerfed him.
Yeah, because they ruined him.
Yeah, right.
He's not fun if I can't just win.
Sorry, Luigi.
Oh my god.
It's okay.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see that the Overwatch team is like aware of what's going to happen to the meta before they release new characters. They were fully aware that Doomfist kind of supports this dive meta, and they're already working on potential buffs to counter it if it gets out of hand. So Blizzard, a company that's not really known for balancing, is working real hard on this balancing act.
I mean, they've done pretty well so far.
They've done really well.
The characters.
There aren't any characters that feel significantly underwhelming anymore.
Yeah.
Like everyone has a reason to be played.
As far as Doomfist goes, from just playing with him on the PTR and playing against him, not a lot of people are really good at him.
That's the way it is with most new characters. Everyone tries to play him and they all suck. Give it a month and everyone will be like, fuck it, this character's bad because I can't win with him. And that's your time to shine as the worst Doomfist on the server.
That happens a lot in League too, although lately League's issue is that they've been releasing a lot of pretty complicated champions.
Higher like skill ceiling.
Yeah, like the guy that they just put out, Kane. He's this guy who has like this scythe blade that's supposed to be like have its own demon inside of it. And then at some point, I've never even heard what the transformation trigger is, but at some point in the game, you have to decide if you're going to go with the blade winning or him winning. And he's like super assassin-y mode, and the blade is tank mode. And people suck at him already, and he could go like, I think people were playing him top, jungle, or even support, and I think jungle is where he's landed. But apparently, as far as I can tell, his tank mode is fine, but his assassin mode is pretty trash. So everyone was just locking a set like tank mode immediately. And so they have to, but that's so complicated because you have to play with numbers for 2 different pieces of the same champion. The last thing they released before this guy was 2 champions at once. It was a couple, and they were an AD carry and a support. And
oh, cool.
Honestly, the thing I really like is I thought the ADC was pretty cool. She's been played a little bit in competitive, but now we're moving into this tank meta because they buffed a bunch of tanks and tank items recently. So now we're swinging back towards tanks. But the support is really cool, And a lot of people have actually been picking him lately because he has the ability to just dash around, and he has a lot of really quick CC to just kind of pop in and engage.
That's cool.
And the other cool thing is they did a special thing where if you have both champions, they both get a minor buff to one of their abilities if the other one is present. Like his ability is he has a dash where he can dash back to an ally, and then that works off of this passive, his Q, where he basically throws out a little like damage thing, and if it hits an enemy, it comes back and starts a shield trigger on him, and after a few seconds it heals. And so what you do is you throw out your Q and then you dash back to your ally and heal both of you. But if the girl is on the team, the AD carry girl, he can dash twice as far to get back to her. And her thing is she has this ability where a bunch of her next basic attacks throughout these feathers that she uses for one of her other abilities. And if you activate it while he's around, he throws out the feathers too.
Oh, cool.
And then they also have this really cool thing where if one of them starts to back, they stand there by themselves, but if the other one moves into the circle, they join in on that recall timer instead of having to start their own. So, like, you can start, okay, like, I'm backing, and then the AD carries, like, I'm finishing up this wave, and then they dart back, and then they fly out together. It's really cool. But anyway, I just totally took us off Overwatch topic.
It's okay, we forgive you, kind of.
It's okay.
It's only because I see people talk about Overwatch half the time in the League subreddit, because I don't know if you guys follow competitive all, but Monte Cristo, does that name mean anything?
Not really.
He was one of the most famous League casters in the world, and he was doing the Korean League. And then he had this huge dispute with Riot, and he left to go do Overwatch, and he's doing Overwatch with another League caster who left with him.
Oh, nice.
But it doesn't sound like competitive Overwatch is a really big thing.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, I feel like it wasn't supposed to be as much as so long as it was designed that way.
I don't know. I feel like Blizzard's been, ever since
really
StarCraft 2, Blizzard's really been pushing for the esports.
It's annoying. Every developer tries to make their game an esport, and that helps me transition to the next topic, because fuck ArenaNet and their esports bullshit.
Oh, snap.
But today, or yesterday, ArenaNet announced that they are announcing a new Guild Wars 2 expansion. And this announcing an announcement shit pisses me off. Just announce the thing you're going to announce in the first place.
Wait, they announced that they're going to announce this?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because so for anyone who plays or doesn't play Guild Wars 2, they came out with the first game came out and it had a story mode in it, and then they decided they were going to do this thing called the Living World, where every month or two there was an update that advanced the story. And it was cool, but if you didn't play during that month, you missed out on a critical piece of the story. So they were changing their methodology, and they decided, you know what, people want the story in one giant chunk. Let's release an expansion. And they released the Heart of Thor's expansion 3 years ago. It wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. Then they went back to their living story model of doing these little releases, and they've done that for about 2 years now. The last one came out last week, and at the end it left everyone on a giant cliffhanger. So everyone's like, well, fuck, that was the finale. When's the next season coming out? And they're like, oh, God, no new season. We got another expansion hand over $60.
Oh.
But I'm excited for this expansion because in Guild Wars 2, it's not always just the story. Every time they do an expansion, they add advanced skills to all of the classes. And this is the last time they did it was their first one. This is the next time they'll be able to do it, but it's not an expansion on the previous one. It's almost like a tree. You can choose to do the expanded skills from the first expansion, or you can now choose the new ones. And everyone's afraid that they're just going to completely outclass everything else in the game because of power creep, which kind of plays into today's topic.
These skills aren't like spells; they're like
no, it's like specializations.
Points. Okay.
So, like for example, there's the warrior class in Guild Wars 2. If you got Heart of Thorns, you get the expanded ability set, which was Berserker, which had a lot to do with instead of building up this charge meter, you would just expend it, or not, you'd like build it up part of the way and then use that as kind of like fuel for your Berserk Rage ability. And each of these classes had essentially an add-on to their base abilities that they could only use if they were using that expansion on the class.
Guys.
And yeah, what?
Side note.
What's your side note?
Someone posted on the Magic subreddit, Ultra Pros have released their Commander's 2017 supplies, confirming all the pictures that were in that leaked little banner.
Oh, gosh.
Really? Breaking MTG news.
And then in the comments, someone said the guy who leaked the Dragons deck says it's Grixis Wizards.
Oh, damn.
I would be so on a
Tim,
Grixis.
we found the Grixis deck.
Oh my god, I would be so on board with a Grixis Wizards deck. I would buy that in a hot second.
Hell yeah.
Holy smokes.
Brand new
Anyway.
VDH decks. Let's go.
Anyway.
Anyway, so point is, we don't know if these new class expansions are completely outclass the first ones they released, or if they're going to make just the base classes completely unusable. So no one knows. We know literally nothing about this expansion. We'll find out on the announcement date that they announced today.
Woo.
August 1st.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
it says
paying that close
August 1st
attention.
on the website.
Okay, so that's not too far off. That's what next.
Tune
Tuesday?
in at 9 a.m. PDT.
Fuck that noise. I'll read the news after work. Anyway, now for something real. And that real stuff
Really,
is,
Friedman.
Oh no.
is the weeb shit.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The real news for this week. So a lot of it is just release news. There's not too much in terms of Japanese news, but we got some new cool English dub releases. Tim, you had your first taste of Food Wars this weekend when Luigi.
Me? Oh, well, technically me, Leslie, Val, and Tyler all did.
You
but
all had a
Tyler's not
taste.
here.
I meant your first taste because Luigi made the gotcha pork roast from the first episode.
It's true.
But
it's true.
Food Wars finally got licensed for English release. Dub clips went up online last week, and it has the problem that all the side characters sound great, but the main character sounds terrible. And point is, that's getting released through a new online streaming service called High Dive, which I've literally never heard of before. So we'll see if this is a good streaming service or not. Again,
Ooh.
anime industry's getting kind of fractured, but for dubs, I don't care. These private companies can release on their own terms. As long as there's a DVD release, everyone can watch some way. But in terms
Everyone
of,
can watch some way.
yeah, whatever. I wasn't implying it, but yeah. But in terms of legal watching, JoJo's Bizarre
Legal
Adventure
watch.
Stardust Crusaders, it got its Toonami premiere this weekend.
Oh.
For anyone who loves watching the dubs. I've seen the dub of it. It's a lot better than the first season of JoJo in terms of how they did the characters. It's not quite as memey as the Japanese one is. But if you want to understand what the deal is with JoJo, go watch Toonami. The probably most iconic part of JoJo is starting right now. So definitely go check that out.
That's crazy to think that Toonami has JoJo on it. Like, I know it had Dragon Ball and everything when we were growing up, but somehow that feels a lot less anime almost than
Dude, they've been getting a
JoJo's
lot of-
Bizarre Adventure.
They've been getting a lot of cool new shows recently. I really like this. Yeah, they're actually getting some solid.
Oh yeah,
dubs.
talk about what we were doing right before we
So
started.
what we're doing right before we started, because it started today, is Twitch partnered with Crunchyroll for 6 days of anime streaming. That means you can enjoy all your favorite zany anime, but with Twitch chat popping off at moment's notice. So we're watching right now. It's still on. Yeah, Mob Psycho 100 is on right now. They're doing the opening again. For anyone who hasn't watched Mob Psycho 100, the opening is them counting from 1 to 99. So the chat is popping off trying to count with the singer. And it's great. I fucking love this. Every time there's a flashback, everyone starts just posting the Binding of Isaac crying face with just tagging sad boys.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god! If you want, they've got some pretty solid shows in here. They're all more recent ones, but yeah, definitely join in. This chat is great. It's gonna be going on for 6 days. They posted their streaming schedule all over the place. They've got between 3 and 5 shows a day. So definitely just jump in, check it out. It's kind of hard to read the subtitles when you're trying to watch all the pop champs fly.
Or when you're trying to listen in, that's hard.
Yeah, but
Can't really turn this stream on in the background.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's one of those streams
Twitch
you got to pay
plays
attention to.
Crunchyroll. That's such a
And
funny
the
tag.
last story I got, which is really good because Luigi's on here and he just started watching the show today. But a Portuguese swim club started to produce their own version of the fictional sport depicted in the anime Keijo, Hit Whip Girl, or as my friends and I like to call it, Bikini Butt Battle, because that's what this show is. Keijo was a sport about these girls in bikinis who essentially sumo wrestle on these floating platforms in the middle of a pool, but you can't use your hands and you can only hit people with your butt or your boobs. And the idea was to come up with crazy, zany, special techniques. The first episode, the main character figures out this backflip technique that lets her fire a Kamehameha away from her butt called the vacuum wave butt cannon. And you try to knock people off into the water. This show was fucking hilarious.
It's
Everyone
so good.
hated it. It got canceled. The manga got canceled. It bombed. This show is amazing. Go watch this show because of how
Actually,
fucking stupid
to
this is.
go into it. All right, so I was actually watching this yesterday because I was looking up for a friend. The author of the manga discontinued the entire series because he had a bit of a disagreement with his publisher for unreasonable due dates, and also he has not given any assistance. So yeah, that was. I mean, he probably burnt a bridge or two, just calling out his publisher in his blog, but.
Yeah, pissed off the wrong people. But Keijo was kind of on the decline anyway. They hit the point where, you can only create these, butt energy attacks so much for each.
No, it's perfect every time.
You guys got to send me this so I can see a shot of this.
There's a scene where they're doing 2v2s and one of them, pulls open her bikini bottom so someone else could slide in, and they're standing two people in a single bottom, and they use the phrase, "let's combine."
Oh my god. Get out. All right, we're going to go to break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about video game progression, because that's exciting.
Hell yeah.
Of course.
And we're back, everybody. Next week, we'll continue with our topic of best of the generation, or best of the consoles. Once Tyler has returned from having a sister and her birthday being today.
Families and birthdays and family occasions.
Luigi, you can't even say anything. You constantly ditch us for family birthdays that come out of the blue.
Hey, it's not my fault I'm brown and we have a million of us here.
Oh my god. Oh, sorry guys. I just found out 20 minutes before I'm coming over that it's actually two relatives of mine birthday, and they're both in town for unrelated reasons. I have to see both of them in the next 30 minutes.
Hey,
back-to-back dinners.
Me there for emotional support.
God. Anyway,
we didn't want to do the best of the multi-console because this is where all of Tyler's favorite games are.
Yeah, all of Tyler's, every time James Bond came up, Tyler, it's multi-console. So we're here to talk about instead video game progression and how it and all the different kinds of progression, really, because there's so many ways to talk about and look at progression. It is a very general topic, but we wanted to kind of brush on it at least a little bit and kind of maybe drill down at a later date, but for now at least get an idea of what it is.
I felt like this was
settled.
A good open topic we could talk about, just because Tim saw me watching it this week while we were camping, but there was a video that one of my favorite anime YouTubers put out about good and bad shonen anime. And one of the big things he pointed out and this has to do with most storytelling in general, is you want to start with a goal. Your character wants to be aiming to do something, and you want to see their clear progress on that path.
Ooh. I'm going to interject. So this is actually also, having run and played D&D for so long, for almost 10 years now, that is one of the single most important things you can have for a good character as well.
Yeah.
When we're just starting Tyler's D&D game, actually, we started his game this weekend while we were camping, and we're going to continue it once my game finishes. But the first thing I said about my character was what his goal is. In Tyler's futuristic world, my character's dad was lost in space, and my character needs to become an astronaut to go chase down his dad.
Oh, okay, that's why you want to do that.
Yeah, or to, I mean, the idea is to either do it himself or to get enough authority to launch a rescue mission.
Yeah, I still need to come up with a long-term goal for my character. Right now,
but that's the most. Cartman. That's what I didn't mean to take us away from video games, but that's one of the most important things to get you invested in a character too.
Well, it's still part of it's a story. All video games have a story, and a character follows that story.
Yeah,
but not even just in terms of story, but also how your character grows in terms of abilities and powers. And this is sort of how it plays into video games. One of the big things that they brought up, and I haven't personally watched all of One Piece. I've only seen the first 20, 30 episodes, but at some point in the show, they establish what is the power ceiling for this universe. Does the strongest person look like? And that kind of gives you this frame to work with of how strong is the character I'm looking at relative to what I know is the best.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of games and shows do this approach where there is no power ceiling.
Yeah.
There's going to be Super Saiyan 4. There's going to be Super Saiyan 5. It's going to keep going as long as we
God,
get
Super
stronger.
Saiyan. Oh, now I'm a
that's not
Super Saiyan. God ascended Super Saiyan.
And that's not always the best thing.
No.
And this can kind of relate to how it plays out in video games of progression of characters in a story, the actual power of your characters, as well as you as a player, your progression through a game and what keeps you wanting to keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that was a big enough topic that we can kind of open that up and discuss
absolutely.
it. And thankfully, we have Luigi on talking about MMOs, the biggest game in terms of progression.
Yeah,
RPGs.
I mean, you wouldn't still be playing WoW if you didn't have progression through your classes and characters.
Through fucking 12 years of World of Warcraft experience.
Says the guy who
I know.
also has currently 3 raiding nights that last at least 3 hours every week.
You're lucky it's only 3.
No, I'm not complaining. Well, I am complaining because yesterday we were supposed to play D&D for longer, but...
Yes, we were supposed to play D&D today, so...
Well, that was Tyler's fault.
This is a lot of everyone's fault.
But there has to be something that keeps you wanting to go for more other than just, it's just gotta, because it's a job. It's like, no, you want to... See, this is where you kind of split into 2 things. You have story progression and mechanical progression.
I wanted to have this progress go more towards mechanical progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because story progression is so general and not really tied to video games. It's only really in video games where you have a mechanical progression, outside of like D&D again. But because in a video game you also have multiple kinds of mechanical progression. Like you have yourself leveling up, but you also have... Actually, it's kind of like you and your character leveling up almost.
Well, it depends how attached you are to your characters. Like, I'll take World of Warcraft very differently than I would say, I don't know, let's say like Dragon Age Origins.
All right, so let me make the definitive split here. This is gonna be a 2-part conversation. The first part is gonna have to deal with multiplayer MMO games, and the second half is going to talk about single player, because these both have very different hurdles they're trying to deal with.
Oh yeah.
And the first and biggest hurdle is that for a lot of multiplayer and MMOs, it's hard to have an endpoint goal where this is it. That's the definitive endpoint, because the goal of these games is you want players playing for a long time.
Yeah.
So you do have different approaches. One of the easiest ways you can do progression, this isn't even in terms of mechanics, but this is in terms of rewarding a player and making them want to play more, is the cosmetic approach. You look at Counter-Strike. When I first started playing CS:GO, there were no skins. Your reward was feeling like you were better at the game, and as a result, not as many people played it.
Well, actually, I would almost say back when gaming first started, that was enough.
Yeah.
But then there became too many games where that was all it was, and then in the eternal quest for success, you had to find something better. And in this case, you found...
Luigi, did you just share your character page with us?
I was gonna wait for...
Yeah, Freeman, why'd you interrupt? God.
I think Freeman is very right about the cosmetic approach. Because if you look at my character's gear, without being able to change my gear, it is the nastiest shit I've ever seen. It's disgusting. I feel gross. But because I'm given, the ability to change my character however it looks, I can make it look badass.
Luigi, your rankings are only 78?
Hey, that's
for heroic.
Fuck you. That's in my performance. You know how many people are below 10? It's a shit ton. That's amazing compared to most people.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but as you were saying about that era of gaming, there used to not be any real way to show off or advance your account. And I know it was when Call of Duty 4 was the first one to have the prestige system. That was the way that you showed off and said, look at how much I'm progressing in this game, where essentially from a mechanical level, we're all on the same level, but this shows kind of like my time investment to the game.
My brother actually hit 10th prestige in the first in Modern Warfare.
I think I prestige once and quit.
Nah, he went all the way, baby. He got that golden AK.
Oh my god.
So good.
And then it was like, I'm done. Because that's the funny thing. Once you hit the end of progression, you're almost kind of done.
You're almost done. At that point, you have to play the game for fun.
Well, so
You don't play games for fun.
Oh my god.
no, so here's an actually interesting thing. So I'm currently playing. I know I've mentioned to you guys the game I received a code for. The only game I've ever activated a code for that I was given by a developer is Starpoint Gemini Warlords. That space game I've been talking about. Not a ton, but I mentioned it a few weeks ago when I got the code. I've been Let's playing it recently, and only the few people who watch and listen to the podcast will know. But I've been I might have cheated some resources. I just don't have enough time in my life to spend hours and hours and hours mining resources, especially because my work's picked up so heavily for the last 2 weeks to meet this deadline on Monday. I haven't had time to even record YouTube, much less play a game for fun and just dilly-dally around, so I just gave myself a lot of resources, and other than spending a little bit of time in like combat and stuff leveling up, I don't have a lot of mechanical progression left because I have all these resources and I'm not spending all this time farming for better stuff. I'll just, as soon as I level up, I can unlock an Imperial Star Destroyer that I modded in. Let me just buy that. But I'm still playing because I actually want to get all that stuff also because I think it makes the single player a lot more fun for myself when I don't have to worry about managing all this stuff.
Yep.
But it's just, I know we're focusing on mechanical, but it's interesting how the two tie together also. Because like for me, the mechanical ties to the story in that case.
Okay.
Because if it was just mechanical, I wouldn't care anymore because I got all my resources. But because I want to play out this cool space game while I'm a Star Destroyer, then that's it. That's fine for me. I don't care about not having much more mechanical progression then. Because the other thing is that it's not one of those games where you get that much better. It's not like League of Legends or Dota or Overwatch. You don't get much better at an arcadey space sim where you literally the only thing you do in combat is steer your ship because your guns are on fire at will because you're a human being. You can't possibly track all these targets when you only have like a 60-degree cone of vision in a 360 landscape.
Yep.
Like it's just not possible. So I don't care about mechanical progression. But then you have games like Call of Duty where mechanical progression is honestly a huge part of the fun.
Oh, definitely.
Like I would never want to cheat in a Call. Well, I might want to cheat. I might want to cheat in a Call of Duty to unlock guns, but not for attachments. Because as annoying as it is, if you look at it if you step away from it for a second and actually think about it, it makes a lot of sense because if you can't use a gun in its basic form, you probably don't have the right to be using it with attachments on it in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I would like to compare Call of Duty to Battlefront, the game that Microsoft released, and just looking at Microsoft? Yeah, no, fucking
what?
Origin. There we go. I'm thinking
what are you talking
Origin.
about?
Oh, the Star Wars one.
Microsoft. The Star Wars. So Battlefront, when I started playing it, because I bought it on PC, and not only was community dead, but it was also really like shitty to level. Because for Call of Duty, for example, or even Battlefield, the starter gun didn't suck dick. It wasn't awful. It was okay.
That's very important.
Starting in Battlefront, the only good gun that I saw literally every single person using required you to have level 8. Granted, that's not a lot.
How long would it take you to get there?
Maybe a day's worth of playing.
Okay.
I played for like 3 hours and I got up 2 levels, but that's because playing on PC is awful. There's nobody playing.
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
easier on Xbox. But
well, honestly, I don't know, especially now that the second one got announced.
There's still more people playing.
I'm sure there are because it's because here's the thing. It's also like the only new Star Wars game that's come out since Force Unleashed years ago. There's just no new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've actually been looking for new Star Wars games to play because I know that most people on my channel just care about Star Wars. It's not a desire to not give them content. I've played most of the Star Wars games.
There's just not more content out there.
There's just not more games coming out. I'm not going to play the Old Republic. Like there's no RTS. There's no new, like the last Star Wars game that was a strategy game was Empire at War still. And that game's like 15 years old at least.
Jeez, I still remember when that game came out.
Star Wars so old.
Like that's everything else is just mods for other games. Like thank God there's so many people who like Star Wars enough to mod games to put it in, because otherwise there'd be no Star Wars gaming outside of what was officially released.
Yeah.
Most communities aren't that lucky. There's no community modding Dragon Age stuff into things. I mean, there's only been two. I mean, there's been 3 real good games in that series. Well, 2 real good ones supposedly, and one that was very boring. But
Inquisition and Origins are the only good ones.
Thank you, Luigi.
No, 2 suck dick. It was awful.
Thank you for clarifying the thing that I was intentionally not.
People need to know.
People probably do know. That's why I was saying. Oh my god.
No, they don't know.
Because years ago, I started an LP for 2 after I had already beaten it once, and I'm like, God, I just can't. This game is so boring. I barely survived. Man, that game falls apart so hard. Talking about progression, I'm gonna I don't know if that's too much of a tangent. Can I just say how in most games it's so hard to balance magic? Like mechanically,
so it's too good.
Because like playing Dragon Age, I know in terms of, so this is actually double progression. In terms of story progression, in 2 at least, because I didn't play Inquisition yet. I don't know if I ever will, unfortunately, just because time. But in Dragon Age 2, if you weren't a mage, you had like no story. There was no reason for you to care about the story at all. Your mages were like, oh, this is a big deal that the Templars say fuck all mages and we don't want to die. But in reality, you're like, I don't really care. But then when you play as a mage, you're like, whoa, these Templars are being so racist towards me. This is crazy.
Hey, the thing is, what you gotta do in Dragon Age 2 is if you're not playing a mage, there's a mage character. Because like that Dragon Age was like, oh yeah, you can be totally super gay if you want. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be gay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna marry a mage, and I'm gonna protect him from the Templars.
Oh my god! And then he betrays you so hard at the end. Spoilers, I don't care. Luigi, you don't understand how pissed off I was. I actually was going to have peace between the mages and Templars, and then Anders is like, nah, son, boom! Kill the Grand Cleric. Now no one's allowed to have peace. Freeman, literally the gay mage is like, you're making peace with the Templars, I won't let you, I'm gonna make this be a thing. And then he blows up a tower with the leading Templar in the city inside. And now he's like, well, now you gotta pick if you want to support us or the Templars. And it's like, okay, cool, dude. You were being hunted and I saved you, but I guess just turn against me. Whatever, that's cool. Like, I care a lot about your character now.
We were gonna have a life together, and look what you did.
Legitimately, the second he did that, later, like, seconds later, the Templars are like, dude, this guy has to die for killing him. And I'm like, yeah, he does. Let's kill him right now. Screw Anders. I don't care anymore. He's such a jerk.
My husbando.
Nah. Dude, I killed him super hard. I was like, fuck Anders. I was going to make peace, and he ruined it. But anyway, mechanical progression. It feels like it's so much better for mages and everything. Like,
yeah, well, also, the game styles are very different.
But
so, like, going
between magic and non-magic?
Well, going into Dragon Age Origins and Inquisition compared to Dragon Age 2. Completely different game styles. Like, I feel like if I were to start out in Dragon Age 2, I could beat the game without leveling up. That's how I feel. It's Gods of War. There is no skill involved.
Yeah. Whoa. I don't know about that, Luigi.
I
back up.
The A button for Dragon Age 2.
But you gotta strategically mash the A button.
Were you playing as a mage?
I mashed the H. No, not as a mage.
Oh, well then that explains it. As a mage, you're weak as hell. Dude, as a mage, it was not like that at all. I remember there were parts where, like, all of a sudden I'd have... Because sometimes in Dragon Age 2, you wander outside the city and you do side quests for 2 seconds before you get shoved back into the crappy city. Sometimes you go outside the city and it's like, oh, do this side quest. There's a dragon nearby. And all of us, or even there's just some bandits, not even this thing as crazy as a dragon, and you're like, wow, I'm crazy outclassed all of a sudden, and I just die in 3 seconds because everything is trash and I'm super weak.
Mage. That's why battle mage is best.
Well, yeah. No duh. I mean, that's
Gotta
why
get those armors.
that's why outside of mods and stuff for Dragon Age Origins, I always get Arcane Warrior because you can wear armor. It's like, hell yeah, dude. Why would I wear foofy robes that suck?
Exactly.
No, but back to
So back on topic with MMOs, because I wanted to talk about this specifically with Luigi, because with me and Luigi, it's basically Guild Wars versus WoW.
One is better.
Yeah, I was gonna say we know which one won that battle.
One is actually better, but I want to talk about the difference. Is why we're here. So, Guild Wars 2, when they came out, they said no vertical progression, no gear treadmill. It's going to be what they called horizontal progression, which translates to you make your own goals. And a lot of that in Guild Wars 2 was cosmetic progression, the pursuit of better looking shit that didn't have any better stats. And I'm not gonna lie, I played that game for 3 years trying to make my character look cooler because there was kind of prestige with knowing, hey, look at that guy. He's got armor that takes like a year to make. He wasn't any better than you. He wouldn't like wreck your ass in PvP just because he had cool looking stuff. But you kind of, I don't know if I want to say you got respect from other players, but it's kind of how it felt. And that was what progression was in Guild Wars 2.
It felt like that, but it was totally wrong. They didn't care at all.
No, like, you could roll into a dungeon wearing the shittiest looking crap, and it's still top tier gear, and you dominate. I had a character that specifically wore the ugliest uniform to prove a point, because it took 0 effort to make, but I already had top gear for him. Whereas, as Luigi can attest, a lot of your progression in WoW, especially in the raiding community, is having the best.
Yeah,
Luigi,
I
this is
mean,
where you come in.
well, it's thank you for reminding me. It's like even taking my character, because that website is a third-party website that I linked, Warcraft logs, and it pretty much shows what kind of damage you can do in a specific boss fight, and it lists for all the current boss fights. So it is about having gear, except gear, it's kind of random, unfortunately. Not everyone gets the best piece of gear. For the past month, I've gotten jack shit. It has been the worst experience of not getting gear ever.
So is that what you're rating for? Gear?
You raid for gear and you raid for achievements. Like just last week, I killed the end game boss on heroic, and I want to do mythics now.
Oh,
What's
boy.
the highest level? Is Mythic?
Mythics, yeah. I've only killed 2 bosses on current content at a mythic level at endgame.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no way you've only done 2 bosses ever on Mythic.
Oh yeah, no, because like it's kind of like a race between time of when it came out and when the next raid comes out. Mm-hmm. When the next raid comes out, you can't get that achievement anymore.
Oh.
That's kind of the difference.
Oh, it's like it's time constrained.
So that's mechanical progression. You have to get this stuff done in an active fashion because it's going to be gone soon.
Right, but even with just the leveling process, because in most RPG settings, you kill things and do quests to get experience to get higher levels, so you can do more higher leveled quests to get more higher level gear. And it goes like that until you reach max level, and then you have to kill very difficult bosses, because they kind of like switches. It's not all about, well, I'm going vertically up to a max level and this is the goal. No, your goal is now being skillfully better than everybody else who is also your character. Because as far as the storyline goes, I won't go too much into it. It used to be like you're just a person, and now you are a hero.
Oh.
And that's how it's progressed over the years. I'm not a fan of, well, look at me, I'm amazing, everybody loves me. No, I like being the background character who helps influence shit in the real world, so the leaders of this universe can do stuff. Yeah, I don't want to be put in the spotlight, because that's when, you know, I kind of feel like, oh, things have been given to you because of the quest lines. Not fun for me, but maybe fun for other people.
No, and I mean, both opinions definitely make a lot of sense. Like, if I'm playing the game, I want to be the hero of this story. But then there's also definitely a case to be made for, hey, I'm not supposed to be the hero. There's so many stories where you can just be the hero. I don't want to be the hero this time. I want to be the guy, like, there's a reason these characters are supposed to matter, and if I'm just the only character doing all the work and the character everyone knows, then I'm the only character that matters, and then why should I care about your storyboard and writing?
I mean, that was sort of what the problem with Guild Wars 2 was. In the first plot line, you were essentially the vice commander of the world military by the end of the plot line. But the commander is this NPC. And every time people talk about shit happen, they talk about what that NPC did, and they don't talk about your achievements. And they failed to push this point forward that you were saving the world, but because they couldn't reference your character name everywhere, they're like, oh, this other dude saved the world with the help of everyone else. And they just kind of ignore that you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone complained. So then they swerved too hard in the second season of the story. They killed him and made you the most important character in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all the players in the world realized this makes a really boring story when your character is always like the hero of all heroes.
Yeah.
And they are starting to find a balance where you're now part of a group of characters and they're all super important and you get referenced by your title. So they don't have to like insert your name everywhere. They just refer to yourself as like the commander of the pact.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, oh, the commander of the pact, as well as these like 15 other characters that are gradually increasing in importance. That was their way of kind of making you important without making you overly important.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a good way that they started gradually expanding. But the first two ways they did it were just trash. It was they swerved too hard.
No, that makes sense.
But again, that's more story stuff.
Yeah, but that's not super.
But again, they're all tied together.
They are kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no game where you just have mechanical progression. Like, even in single player, like, well, not in single player, I'm not trying to divert us, but in things like Call of Duty, which have single player and multiplayer, you still have mechanical progression because you have different mission types and things like that. Whereas you're not unlocking guns, you're being given access to different scenarios that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, remember in Modern Warfare, the Chernobyl mission. That's a type of mission you've never seen before. And it has totally new mechanics of like trying to be stealthy and trying to do all this and like trying to do sniping and all this stuff.
Ah, Spec Ops.
Oh my god, Spec Ops were so fun. My brother and I played those tons of times.
Let's be the best at this one.
I mean that they were. I remember I did
They get hard.
Someone I used to do videos with, me and him played like the final tier on the hardest difficulty. I think we beat like one mission. They are so hard.
They get real difficult. Well,
like
even to unlock the later ones, you have to be the best at doing the earlier ones to make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's one where it's like, oh, you're in a small box and 30 juggernauts attack you, like kill all of them. And on the highest difficulty, it's like a juggernaut sees you and you just die. It's just insane, but it was so fun. That's the kind of mechanical progression because you had to get better at the game to physically be able to beat these challenges. You just had to.
Yeah. And that's skill progression that you need to personally get better at it.
Yeah. But there's even things, even as much as you need to replay it to mechanically get used to the level.
Yeah.
Like you can't just
put like any speedrunner into that position.
Yeah.
How do they get so fast? It's because they understand how the game works.
I just found a new video while I was at work yesterday, and I might actually watch more of them because it was a kind of cool little history lesson-y kind of thing. This guy basically talked about the history of the world record for the original Legend of Zelda. And he went over how the first record was set by this guy, and it was like an hour and 30 minutes, and today the record is like 27 minutes. And what did they change, and how did they learn, and how did they get, like...
Break the game?
Yeah, no, this is glitchless.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, like glitchless beating the original Zelda in about 20... I don't know, maybe it's like 28 minutes, I think, is the number.
It's probably on YouTube.
But it's crazy, and it's about how they learn how the game is coded and how they can use it to their advantage. Like, there's a mechanic in that game where there's basically a hidden chart that says if you've killed this many enemies, the next enemy you kill from this type of enemy will drop this thing or nothing, and you use that to hunt certain enemies to get bombs and hearts and things like that for when you need them at certain points. It's really cool. But that's part of the mechanical progression of getting better at these games. Like, you don't know early on, like, I was talking about the Juggernaut missions in Call of Duty. You don't know what guns are good against Juggernauts or how you can quickly kill a Juggernaut. But then, over the course of playing through it a bunch, you're like, oh, it turns out you just need to grab the Barrett and shoot him in the head because nothing else kills him.
Or even you can take a game like Overwatch, just how much damage every shot takes to kill this enemy, and how much damage that enemy will take.
You know what's really funny, though? I always thought that the pros in League of Legends and stuff like know the exact number the exact damage number their ability does. I
doubt they do.
I don't think they do. I think it's more along the lines of they have analysts and stuff, or even people who love math on Reddit are like, I did the math, and at this level, this is better than this, and they just remember that.
They just know what's good. They don't know like the numbers why.
The number doesn't matter. If you know that this item is good, I don't care how much more damage it gives.
It's a simple yes or no for them.
Yeah.
Is it better?
Plus, there's so many levels of like learning how to, like, in any kind of team game like that, like doing map rotations or understanding what objectives need to be taken, or in things like League, what neutral objectives should we be caring about right now versus pushing the enemy base, or in Counter-Strike, I'm sure there's even something where it's like, do we all focus one area, or do we kind of spread around the map and go for a more, I don't know Counter-Strike. Fuck. But like,
no one does it.
Almost every game has some kind of mechanical progression, whether it's you getting better at the game or your character getting better at the game, or both, which are the good ones.
Yeah.
Not to get off topic, but Freeman, I keep looking over at Discord and seeing the preview picture of the stupid YouTube video that you sent us during the break.
About Keijo, the
yeah, and it just keeps catching my attention. I'm like, fuck, this is so stupid.
Vacuum butt cannon!
Not gonna lie, I still have the Twitch stream open in the background, and Mob went 100%, and the fight is just... Everyone's popping off at the PogChamp emoji. It's getting crazy.
God.
Oh my god, I wish we weren't streaming right now so I could make you guys watch this.
All right,
but,
we're not streaming right now, so...
Oh, not sorry. Recording.
I know, recording.
It can be edited, but it won't.
Yeah, right.
No, it definitely won't.
All right, so do we want to move into the single-player discussion? Because I've got a couple interesting topics to talk about.
Sure.
For single-player.
Is Mario one of them?
No. The one game I wanted to look at as our kind of case study for single-player progression is a game that Tim and I both played, Infamous.
Hell yeah.
For PS3. This game, the first one is what I think is a good example of single-player progression, and the second one illustrates some of the issues I have with single-player progression.
Okay.
But for anyone who hasn't played Infamous is a story of you're this guy, Cole, who one day you get into this incident and you get these powers to control electricity.
More specifically, you're a courier and you're given a pet.
Oh, I just remembered what the actual plot line was.
Yeah, you're given a call and it says, pick up this package here, drop it off, and while you're en route, your package explodes, and there's
like an EMP or something.
Yeah, kind of, basically. But you're at the center of it, but you're somehow like injured and dazed, but you're okay. Whereas like 3 square blocks around you has just been devastated.
It's just like a crater.
Yeah, and the army comes in and they lock down the whole city, and so you're trapped in the city, and you quickly realize that you've gotten electric superpowers from the package.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
And the game starts off with you have some limited superpowers. You basically you can shoot electricity, kind of essentially like a gun in a third-person shooter. And there's a couple other ones like you can, if you're standing on power lines, you can kind of ride them like you're grinding on a rail on a skateboard. As the game progresses, as you do more missions and fight more bosses, you gradually start to unlock more and more abilities. And some of these abilities were tied to whether you were more good alignment or evil.
Yeah,
that was the big thing
you had like electric grenades if you were evil, or snipe mode if you were good.
Powers?
Yeah, your powers would typically be more destructive if you were on the evil path. And if you're on the good, they'd be more utility skills.
Yeah.
but gradually you got better and better. Like at one point you unlocked the ability to hover in the air, which means you can get around a lot faster because parkour and moving around was a big component in this game.
The coolest was when you're riding on one track of power lines and you're like, oh, I need to get over to there and just float over to the train tracks and hop on the electrified subway tracks.
And you just do this like continuous run. At some point your grind is you're able to go faster because you're on an electric rail.
You're also able to charge up your electricity by grinding, so you just hop on a wire and immediately you're at full power again.
Yep, because you had to absorb all of your things used a resource bar you had, and that would also get bigger throughout the game depending on if you picked up certain items. So you could go through the game and just have very minimal electricity, or you could have this full bar so you just spam your abilities and feel really strong. And that it made you feel like you were growing as a superhero in this game because your powers were constantly escalating, and it wasn't like this power does 3 more damage. It's more like, hey, that shot you did before, now you shoot 5 of them.
Or if you headshot a guy, now he shoots out electricity and hits all these other people.
Yeah, it was. The mechanics stayed very similar, but they kept expanding in utility.
Yeah.
Until the end of the game, when my favorite ability unlocks, where you just summon this giant fucking bolt of lightning that can just like.
Oh my god! Yes, and you can aim it.
Yeah, that was really, you could move it.
Oh my god!
And it would use almost your whole bar. But that was the point where it's like you realize this is the point where I'm at the strongest. Like you saw that skill, there was no doubt in your mind that this was the best skill in the game. And that Infamous 1 did a really good job of playing into growing stronger as the story went along, and you feeling that things, I don't want to say things you did matter, because that was more along the storylines, but the thing is, your skills progress in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel yourself getting stronger, and that kind of played in with the plot line of Cole becoming more in tune with his power.
Yeah.
But then Infamous 2 had the sequel problem of when you've shown a character go from start to finish, how do you bring them into another game when they're already at the finish line? And method 1 is always, we'll just give them the powers they had before and make them stronger. But that's not always easy to do. With Infamous 2, they had to come up with, it's some way to make it so that way you could lose your powers. This happens every Metroid game. This happens, for anyone who plays Phoenix Wright, it happens every one of those games. You start off the game not knowing how to be a lawyer anymore. But they had to make a way for the character to not have his powers anymore. And in Infamous 2, it started off cool because you start the game with all the powers from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
The very first boss fight, you're still at full power from the first game. And you get fucking destroyed by this boss.
Yeah.
And that's a story way to say, like, look, this is how strong you need to beat if you're going to beat this game. Then you start off with some of the abilities from the first game. You still got stuff like your hover. You still got some of your movement skills. So it's cool. You realize you're not actually starting over from zero. But you're missing a lot of the cool stuff. And this was kind of how they tied in the mechanic for Infamous 2 of your powers grew from whoever you aligned yourself with. You had this good girl who had ice powers with this evil girl who had fire powers. And that would kind of determine what other powers you would get throughout the game. And that personally felt shitty because you didn't feel like you were personally progressing. These powers were just kind of thrust upon you by whichever alignment you picked.
Yeah.
And the alignments were kind of forced.
In a lot of those open worldy games, they usually are. It's like, do you choose to save the hospital of children, or do you choose to burn the hospital to mine for the minerals underneath?
But that was the thing. Infamous 1 was like, do you blow up the hospital or do you leave it alone because you don't care? And it was way less of these like completely opposite directions. It was a little more realistic to make a choice between.
I remember early on, like before, just as you first gotten your powers, there was people want to get out of this city. And our plan is to just rush the gate before that turns out to be a terrible idea. Do we try to sneak around the gate? Or do we try to start a riot so that the civilians rush the gate and get killed and then push back the army, hopefully?
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. I remember that.
That was cool, but it wasn't like explicitly evil. One is like, that's an asshole thing to do, and then it ends up being pretty evil. And it was...
Start a riot.
I felt like they were more realistic. Like a lot of them, you'd be in a room and one girl's like, quickly, we need to save everyone. And the other one's like, no, fuck that. We need to kill everyone. And you're given this very distinct, like, this is good and this is evil. One gives me ice powers, one gives me fire powers. And it felt bad because this didn't feel like meaningful progression for you as a character, which was all that 1 was about.
Yeah. Two definitely overall is the weaker game. Just talking about that, because it is so nice. You sculpt the game around what you're going to do, but some games, they build it around unlocking powers, like leveling up, like Dragon Age. And those are still meaningful increases because every time you level up in Dragon Age, you get a new ability. Sometimes they are a passive upgrade of some kind more than just numbers, like now this has a stun or something. But it's almost more fun when you're in the story and you unlock something by doing the story stuff. I feel like the problem with a lot of games is they tend to front load all the side activities.
And they happen more towards the beginning of the game?
Well, because I'm one of those people, and I'm sure I'm not alone, where as soon as the game starts and as soon as the game opens up, you never continue the main story until you've finished every single side activity.
Oh, man, that was Final Fantasy 15.
I never do it. In Infamous, it's like, oh, the next story mission? Okay, I gotta, like, when I'm recording certain games, I have to just stop because it's like, I gotta go do all the side stuff now.
Yeah.
And the problem is the story so often is what gives you your powers. So I want to do the side stuff with my cool powers and enjoy my cool powers, but I can't because I don't unlock them until the end of the game when I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do. Like, that's the problem, is they give you these cool powers and then you so rarely have something to do with them.
Yep.
Like, and I can understand because they want you to feel that build up. But at the same time, like, I get the ability to call lightning from the sky like Cole. I use it one time on the final boss as a cutscene thing, and then I have the power, but I already did all the side stuff, and the game is just over.
That was the thing, though. I saved a good amount of the side stuff for after the boss fight, because I was trying to platinum that game, and I didn't.
See, I can't save it. It's like, I know I want to be as strong as I can for this fight. So
I was kind of engrossed in the plot. So once I got, like, that game had very distinct sections. There were 3 sections of the city, and the last one was completely fucked. And this was the final boss zone. I powered through the story there because I wanted to know what was going to happen next, and then I went back and did the side quest there. But I know for most people they don't do that.
I mean, I can definitely understand, because there are times I get engrossed in the story, but my OCD is like, no, the side thing, no.
Yeah.
There's a potion over there.
Heck, even in Dragon Age, there are definitely spots where it's better for story to bring certain party members with you. And if I'm not bringing the right party members, then I feel like I'm missing things. But then it's like, oh, but I'm still, like, oh, God, what was it? At some point in the Let's Play of Dragon Age, like when I was recording last week or something, I was like, oh man, I've never heard this dialogue before. And I played through Dragon Age Origins like 4 times. Completely. And multiple times just started. Like, it's so hard to experience that, though, because I so want to do the optimal route. Because that game is hard. I feel like we're all over the place with this topic.
A little bit. I had one more series I wanted to talk about.
There's a lot of games
more
that can
run
fit into
single
these
player.
categories.
Just because RPG progression is a really easy topic to talk about. MMOs are RPGs at their core, but even within the same series, some of them do them better and some of them do them worse. You've already seen Spoonie's reviews on Final Fantasy 13. 13 and 10 are 2 sides of the same coin. They both had that grid system involved, and 13 was an oversimplification. For anyone who hasn't played Final Fantasy 13, when you level up, you're given this like chain of nodes you can unlock when you get enough experience. But at the end of the day, you don't have a choice. You're going to unlock everything at some point or another.
As he says in one of his review segments, it's just another hallway.
And honestly, it is. There's like, you go on a branch, you get a little build, you get this one ability faster than you get normally, but it's still just a quick little detour because you're going to be advancing in one direction.
It's not like did any of you, Luigi? I think you played it a little bit. That Diablo-like game. What was it called?
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile. Where
and it's like, oh, name a dungeon crawler.
Well, yeah, but the level up system in that was just pick your class. Okay, you start. There's literally like this 100 by 100 grid of abilities.
It is insanity. It's
actually crazy.
Like, add extra sides to a dodecahedron, you have the first build you can make.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Granted, as a game, I think it's better than what Diablo 3 became.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things, if you don't have a route planned out when you start, you will not be efficient
if you don't find a guide, you're going to have you're gonna go off the path because
Yeah.
that's almost the opposite problem of too much option. Because Freeman, if you look up a picture of it or something, you
I have a feeling
literally
this is a lot like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X.
I don't know because I haven't seen the sphere grid for more than the second Spoonie showed it in his review. But at least in this, it's literally just
What
like
is it called in Path of Exile?
Path of Exile. It's just a level up system.
Look at the just type in talent trees.
But it's basically one giant grid, and all that happens is when you pick a class, it plops you on one of the predetermined spots on the board, and then you just go.
This is the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
So I want to say that in 10 you can kind of jump around the grid. Like you can use your points you normally use to put into another node to go somewhere else and start a new set of skills. And that was cool progression because you weren't on rails. You might end up with a shitty build if you don't think about what you're doing. And that was cool. There's a risk to it. You need to think about what you're doing, and that made for more meaningful progression in 10 than it did in something like 13, where it doesn't matter what you pick, you're eventually going to get there.
I can understand that, but at the same time, without some idea of where you should go, like in Path of Exile, there's like the 3 stats. There's like Dex, Strength, and Magic or whatever it was. I don't even remember anymore. But
I think it was Wisdom. I don't know.
Something like that. There were the 3 things, and then each of the classes was basically you're really good at one of them or you're good at 2 of them.
Yeah.
And it's like the problem with that one was even though you had this giant grid of stuff, you really only went with what was the best thing for your class. Like you basically just kept going towards the outer edge from where you were because you also got your stats from there. And you needed stats to equip the right gear for yourself. And it's like why...
You're also working with other people who are not going to be taking the same tree, and you guys want to focus on different things.
But it's like it's almost like, why not give me... I almost want a thing in the middle. Where don't... Like, when you see the Path of Exile grid, it looks so intimidating, and I know I was intimidated by it. But when you break it down... You only care about the section that directly affects your class. Like,
okay.
I wish there was a way to...
I can give an example. When I was making my character for Endgame, I had a general understanding of how the build was work, and I was going with, I think it was a Templar or a Paladin-like character. It's a 2-handed strength magic user. And so the main ability I've been using is just, I shoot lightning at the ground directly in front of me and I just blow shit up. And so anything that deals lightning damage and anything that increases the power of that ability is all I'm going to go for, and I don't have to worry about anything else. But and I took that just from looking at, Googled the spells, not even a guide of how to build it. Just like, this is an AoE attack. I'm going to push this button. Perfect. Done. You played the game.
But then the problem is you get to a game like Path of Exile, where gear is being rotated through so fast that it's impossible to... Like, I picked up this sword that seems to be built for a fighter, but I could use it really well, so I'm going to put some points into getting strength for a while. Now it turns out I also need magic points for this other thing, so I'm going to go back... I just wish there was a way to be like a little more focused than something like Path of Exile, where and that in Diablo, it's like you have your abilities, that's great, but sometimes you're not finding gear that directly helps your abilities, and then you're just stuck being forced to only focus on leveling your towards those abilities that you care about because you're losing so much. Like, the randomness almost hurts you at that point.
There are a lot of games that are swapping, at least MMOs are swapping to you can think of it kind of like a dumbed down version of talent trees. So there is no particular path, and there is wiggle room between certain abilities, not all of them granted.
Yeah.
Like, back in 2008, World of Warcraft had a 51 points you can put into talent trees, which all of them had 30 different choices. for
Jeez.
3 different specs per character.
Oh my god.
And now it's a set of 7. 7 points you can put in, and you have 3 options each set.
That seems a lot
some
easier.
of it, some of it is, well, you don't have to pick this, but if you like this playstyle, then yeah, you could pick it.
Because you know what? Here's the thing. Here's what it really boils down to in my mind. There are so many options, but the problem is it's pretty hard to find someone who wants to intentionally not have the best option. And that means they're like, it's kind of like in League, how they have the runes and masteries. Runes are these items that you have to buy with in-game currency that you earn. You earn. You can't buy them with real money, which is nice. But you buy them, and then you kind of just pick which ones you think are good. But then you have these masteries where you also have points from leveling up that you also assign to things that do more unique things.
Yeah.
But almost always one of them is good. Like, it's just like no-brainer, unless the interface screws me. This is the better pick.
So this is a good pivot point.
I feel like less options is actually good because you can cultivate. I'd rather have a few good choices than dozens of crappy choices and one secretly good choice.
This sort of, all right, so I can kind of transition with that one, but a lot of this has to do with you have a choice of abilities. You're always going to choose the best one. But another look at progression, and one that, obviously for more competitive games where you have to have an upper limit, you can't just present the player with all the abilities and say these are all yours. But there are some games where having that versatility in what abilities you're going to use right now helps. If you look at something like Final Fantasy VII, one of the big progression points in that game is your weapons have slots where you can put spells in. And one of the things that makes you stronger is, in addition to how strong the spells, how many different varieties of spells you have. When you start the game, most characters have 1 or 2 abilities, but by the game you have between 4 and 6. And that versatility of knowing I have all these different varieties of abilities at my disposal is what helps you feel stronger. Even if even if you had access to all those individual skills that are in the game, having more at your fingertips makes you feel like you're progressing as well.
That's also looking at it from 2 different perspectives. Like, you can go from a hardcore perspective, and then like someone who just started playing the game is, hey, I want to have fun too, kind of guy.
I mean, it does kind of suck. I played a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, and the problem was a lot of the skills I liked playing with were off meta. Stuff that was interesting to me wasn't necessarily a good pick, and you couldn't do that because it was a competitive focused game.
Well, that's more
you
okay.
Have to play what's best.
That's okay in that kind of game, honestly, because if you go into the normal queue, people who act super competitive in that, why? What is the point?
You gotta win.
See,
the same
I
reason
win
I get
too,
mad
but I'd
at
rather
people
have
play
fun while
Hanzo
winning.
in Overwatch. I ain't trying to lose.
See, I know you and Tyler get like super into Overwatch.
Oh, we get super salty when we got bad teams.
But you guys
on
play
Overwatch.
ranked, right?
No, we play quick play together.
Oh my
god.
I play ranked on my own. I haven't actually played them. We should play ranked.
We should.
Yeah, but
I mean, we're all gold, so we're not, shit tier.
Nah, man, I play silver twice and then proceeded to play no more.
Oh, you're a disappointment. I'm not playing with you anymore.
Yeah, all right, fine. I'll ladder up to gold and then we'll play together.
Okay, good.
Right.
Make me proud.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. There's one last game I want to talk about that is my favorite example of bad progression.
Hopefully, I can be a part of this one.
I wish Tyler was here for it because it's his least favorite, and it's also one of Spoonie's least favorites. It's Final Fantasy VIII. Because this game has the issue that progression and actual gameplay are completely disconnected. And Final Fantasy VIII, like any other RPG, in fights you want to kill your enemies. But killing your enemies doesn't progress you in any meaningful way.
Ruh-roh.
Sitting there and drawing spells from your enemy and not actively progressing the fight you're currently in is the way you actually progress the game. Man. This is like got to be the king felon of progression to game. Because if you want to progress or if you want to actually play the game, those are 2 very, very unrelated things.
Yeah, they shouldn't be unrelated.
They actively work against each other. If you're sitting there trying to improve, you may lose the fight. And if you start fighting enemies, guess what? They're going to start scaling faster than you because you didn't progress because you fought the enemies.
Yeah.
And that's a way that, you
in some games that would work, but in a game like Final Fantasy where like most of the time you're going into random battles, it's a big problem.
Yeah, no, that was a big issue. That's one of the reasons I've quit playing it twice now because one of the things I love about RPGs is seeing yourself improve. And with 8, it's like, if I want to see myself improve, I got to sit here for an hour and literally not play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the big point I wanted to make about bad examples of progression.
No, that's fair. But
Final Fantasy is gross.
I think we're gonna call it there because we're just kind of meandering around like crazy on this topic, which is fine.
Too many
That's kind of what I
games,
expected to happen.
examples.
But
I mean, it's such a broad topic. We can kind of just fly off in 1,000 directions. We already get off topic like crazy.
We're the kings of this.
What's staying focused? Don't know that part.
What is?
Sounds like
Focus.
D&D.
Focus.
That's why our D&Ds take a year.
Yeah, right.
Hey man,
Combat.
it's still fun.
It is still fun.
Let's see if we got any feedback from last week.
I extremely doubt it.
I highly doubt it. No one plays
One
PS2.
comment that says "Go kill yourself."
No one plays PS2. Yeah, that's the thing, Freeman.
What do we got?
Hey, look,
Anything?
nothing. No, I'll double check.
You're so popular.
Nah, nothing really significant.
Wow, you just shit on those 2 people.
But they're not like asking questions or shit for us to discuss. They're just like, hey, look, it's a podcast. Wish more people listened. I do too.
Yeah, I wish more people. Yeah, same, yo.
Whatever.
Oh, wait, nope, don't play the audio. I just want to look at the comments, YouTube. I wish more of your subs were active, yeah. And then ban and going directly into it. Don't even know what that means. So, yeah, no comments worth replying to.
Yep. Keep watching, Cypher. We always enjoy the weekly comments.
Going forward this week, I'm still crazy busy. I got, like I said, a crazy deadline at work on Monday. I've been working 10-hour days since before and after our camping trip. The only reason I got to go on the camping trip was because I said when I got hired that I was going. Otherwise, my boss was literally going to ban me from going on the trip, so.
Jeez.
And it's like, hey, you just started working here. Can I have a 4-day vacation?
3. But yes.
So, okay. That makes it better.
But that's hopefully ending on Monday. I don't know if I have to work Saturday. I don't know if I have to work Sunday. I'm praying that I get enough work done tomorrow and Saturday that I can take Monday off or take Sunday off, aka a normal weekend day.
A normal weekend, yeah. It's kind of the same for me. I have a production push tomorrow, and I fucking hate doing production on Friday. So if something goes wrong, guess who gets to come in on Saturday?
Well, our company pushed back our 4th of July barbecue to tomorrow because so many people were on vacation that week because it was a 3-day week for us.
Yeah.
So now it's supposed to be tomorrow, and the weather's supposed to be bad. But even if it's not, they're like, get your 40 hours in by 12, and then you can have the barbecue and probably just go home, I'm assuming. And I'm like, you're funny. I'm going to be here till 5 again.
Damn.
I'm going in at 6:30 and leaving at 5 o'clock. It's great.
Are there going to be other people there, or is it just you?
Staying late?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Our whole team.
Damn, I was going to say watch the Twitch stream.
Nah, I wish, dude. I if I go in on Saturday and no one's there, I might actually do that.
Hell yeah.
I was there alone the Sunday before the camping trip, and I had my phone open with, like, League, because it was LCS. But anyway. Upcoming, but yeah, I'm gonna try to record tomorrow before we have an emergency D&D session to make up for the shortened sessions this week.
Yeah, this emergency session's killing me. Everyone's trying to hang out on Friday. I'm like, fuck, I got D&D.
Until 10, and then you can go wander off with anime people.
Yeah. Yep.
But what are you guys doing? What's coming up this week for you guys, Freeman?
Persona 5, Persona 5, Persona 5. We're closing in on the ending. Let's do this.
I gotta work.
Work.
I'm trying to catch up on a couple animes. I'm wrapping up some stuff from the older seasons. I want to start the Ballroom show. I want to start the new Fate series that Tyler discussed a couple weeks ago. There's also a show called Gamers that just has a bunch of video game references in. I don't know what the actual plot is, but I want to check it out and see if it's not actually trash.
There's 2 episodes out currently, and it has a high rating, but I'm
skeptical. The seasons are pretty bad. I'm already watching New Game, which is about cute girls doing cute game developer things.
Oh my god.
That's enough meta video game references for one season. But let's see if Gamers is any good.
Well, podcast is over.
And that's the weeb shit.
Yeah, the weeb shit take 2.
We need more of it. At
Luigi,
least
are you
an
doing
hour
anything
segments.
besides working and raiding and D&D?
Like work and raid. No, that's pretty much it. I might have next week. Ryan Digdan's coming back from Georgia to live back in New Jersey
Oh, cool.
next weekend.
Oh, nice.
Going to NJMS, and so we're gonna get crazy drunk on the weekend. I don't know what day. I was just told we're gonna get crazy drunk this weekend, so it might be 3 days or it might be 1 day. I don't know.
Well, good thing you didn't do that on the camping trip.
Yeah, right.
Oh wait.
You guys didn't get crazy drunk. You guys just got drunk.
Yeah, we're under control.
You guys were not the two out of control drinkers.
I feel like because I was getting really drunk and then I'm like, oh shit, I ran out, and then I sobered up.
And then you're like, oh wait, I'm fine now.
I don't know, I had physically too much volume to drink because we were trying to avoid dehydration that whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a total of 20 gallons of water that was brought with us.
Hey man, that was sweaty, man.
Yo, it was needed.
But
was
actually,
super
though, we
important.
should think about that camping spot, like even going again later this year or next year.
I'd be
it's
down
pretty
for
nice.
a winter trip.
Like
I
honestly,
would
that.
love a winter trip.
Oh shit!
Went winter camping there.
Why did you say that?
What?
Now we have to do it. Fuck.
We'll go for Christmas.
Oh my god!
Oh no! It's happening. Plans are
Get
forming.
out!
Oh my god, I love that. Winter camping
I'm
is
gonna
best.
literally stop recording, go outside, tell Val, and she's gonna be like, "Fuck, Luigi's right. We have to do that."
I'll tell Val for you if you don't,
Oh
so.
my god, I'm gonna tell her, of course.
Down in the group chat, we're going Christmas camping.
God, that's such a good idea.
All right.
Oh my god, I wonder if they let you ice skate on the lake. Oh my god.
All right.
They definitely
Let's end this
don't.
before we start making more plans.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to TNT Podcast, everybody. I'm sorry.
Shit, the podcast was still on.
I'm sorry we're listening. I'm sorry we are.
Going off
We're
topic.
down a tie this week. So it's the TN
TNL.
Lou
TN Lou.
podcast
Sounds
this
off.
week. But
I
next
like
week
it.
we'll have Tyler back to finish Best of the Generation for the. What do we call that generation?
I think it's the 6th generation of consoles.
It is the 6th?
I want to say it is.
Or whatever X generation it is. It's X minus 2, where X is current generation.
Yeah, it's 6th gen.
Okay. I have to look that up then, because we have to figure out our lists of games to talk about for next week. But
Yeah, right.
anyway, thanks for listening to TNT Podcast, everybody. We'll catch you next week. My name is P, and we'll see you guys later.
See you next time.
Have a good one.